hello, darling, and welcome to the Just Jax Podcast. Hi, I'm Jax, and I help you find the can in your cat. When we challenge our cats, miracles happen, because when I challenged mine of I can't draw, I can't paint, and I can't color, imagine my surprise when I discovered what I can do is create a 21-foot garden mural that was recently featured not once but twice on the front page of our local newspaper. Next up, I challenge the I'm no author, no artist, and no cursive writing specialist, but what I can do is self-publish 3 books for my kick-ass cursive writing curriculum, Crack the Cursive Code. I'm a jack of all trades, but what I master in is helping ordinary people like me to do extraordinary things through laughter, tears, life-changing stories, because metaphors are my jam. Together we can find the can in your can'ts, the do's in your don'ts, and the wills in your won'ts. I'm so excited for you. Let's go. Well, hello, my darlings, and welcome back to the Just Jax Podcast. Or if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And today we're going to be having one whopper of an episode. We are going to be talking about pets. And the reason we're going to be talking about them is that I got an answer as to why my cat has been peeing outside of the litter box for over 8 years now. And that was one of the mortifying moments when the 911 team came to my house with my hubby's heart scare last week. You can find out all about that on my episode before this one. There was a tray that was there, and she had peed inside the tray, which I'm so thankful for, instead of her destroying our baseboards and such. And I've just been beside myself on how to deal with this problem. So, to get into a little bit of a story of how I got myself into this predicament, we're going to have a little journey through the past of my pets. For you see, I have had quite a checkered past with pets, and there has, in my memory and recollection, never been a pet where I have connected to them to the point where I see people grieving their pets as a loved one or part of the family. And I find that my heart is warmed by the thought of that idea, but I have to say I've never experienced that for myself. I have I have a record of being a pet killer when I was a child. It started with my mom's precious bougie bird that she was training to speak and do fabulous things. And I was 2, and I crawled up the pedestal style bird cage, and of course had no concept of physics and how things worked at that time, and it made it very top heavy when I climbed up top. No no credit to my pole climbing skills. You know what? I could have really used that when I was younger, as that I'm the type of person who can climb up a pole, because I was able to do that there. And the cage came crashing over, killing the bird and my mom's hopes and dreams of having this fantastic animal do tricks, etc. Fast forward, my mother got me some fantastic turtles, and I lived in a very cold place. And of course, the caring individual that I am, I thought it would be fantastic to put the turtles on the radiators. And at this time, the radiators were in the rooms, and they were super hot, and you learned very quick to stay away from them because they were hot. And I thought, what a fantastic thing to do for the turtle. And of course I got distracted and bippity boppity boop, we had roasted turtle. And next was on the list of victims was a guinea pig. His name was Peter the pig, and I thought it would be fantastic for him to have real grass outside, and this grass would be out in the yard. And I thought I would be really, really clever and get a freezer basket, and take it out there. Of course, no idea of physics and how things worked, of how the mass of the animal would be able to move that basket or do something to get out of the basket. I got, bottom line here, distracted. I got distracted, and of course, poof, Peter the pig was gone. And there was one pet in particular that my mother tells me that I had a dog when I was younger that I was very close to, and she tells me the story that the dog actually saved my life. And sorry. I'm just thinking of the end of the story that always makes me chuckle. This dog saw that I was going to get hit by a car, and it jumped and pushed me out of the way, and he got hit. And when he got hit, he had to have a cast on his leg because his leg was broken, and we had one hell of a cat. This cat loved to torment our dog. It was a Chinese pug. And what the cat would do would make the dog get all excited and forget about the cast on his leg. Now, what made me think of it yesterday was my husband showed me a cat video where this cat underestimates where it's going and slides and bangs into a wall. Now, when a pet does that, sad for the pet, but there are humorous moments when things and people hurt themselves that make us laugh out loud. And this was one of them because the cat was devious enough to make the chase start on the carpet where the dog would have some traction, and then take it into the kitchen where it was solid linoleum and make a quick turn at the door, and the dog would go smashing right into the wall. And the cat did it repeatedly. Stop there, lick, look back, and go, my work here is done. It's funny how you can have small little videos now, and they can transport you really back into where you were as a child. And that dog passed, and fast forward, I had I had other animals. I had basset hounds at one time. I had four of them. One was very special to me. Her name was Hannah Banana. And at that time also I had a sheep, and his name was Elliot. And Elliot was very special because Elliot had an attitude problem. Elliot really, really, really got triggered if you looked down on him. And it was if you initiated a challenge in any way, shape, or form, almost like the word chicken in Michael J. Fox and all of his Back to the Future movies. If you said the word chicken, it brought something out of Michael J. Fox's character that he just had to take you down. Well, Elliot was the same, and it was funny as hell because, of course, being a grown woman and sturdy on my feet, it was funny when he would do that for me. And I learned that very quickly that if anybody was coming over, and he was super cute and fluffy, that boink, boink, boink thing when he was prancing around, but never made eye contact where you looked down on him or challenged him. He took it as a challenge in any way. And I had to warn every single person that came over to kind of stay away from Elliot because of this charging tendency. Well, one time I wasn't able. One young girl decided that she was going to do something, or I have no idea if he took what she did wrong. Probably it was the sheep's fault, but he challenged her, and she had a jar of preserves, and it hard head, meat jar, meat front tooth, and poof, out went her front tooth and her in a complete back to front roll. Luckily, that was the only thing that happened, that it knocked her tooth out. But yes, Elliot was saw a picture of him in not too long ago, and he was a sweet thing too. Fast forward to now, where I have my own house and I have a partner that loves cats. I was determined that I was going to have the big, super happy family of cats, and I wanted to have as many as I could because I thought it would just be fantastic to have a house full of cats. And I have no idea why my husband just didn't smack me up the side of the head. Do you know what that means? If they all work out, great, but if they don't, and we thought that if we got them, or I thought, actually, I'm just going to come clean here. I was the one that pushed the agenda on which cats we got, and I was the one that needed to have them here and now. And I was the one that did very little vetting of what I wanted in an animal or how it responded to me. I pushed the envelope and we took what we got, and they there has been great blessings, but there has been a real heavy wear on my heart, and it has basically made my pet experience difficult. And I learned there is a real serious difference between fostering and ownership. And I found this fantastic shelter in a town just out about 25 miles from here, with her and how she treats the cats and how she understands them and who she is as a person is just top notch. And when we went to the shelter, the one cat that I saw on the internet that I wanted, she told me that she was unadoptable. And I'm like, well, why is she unadoptable? And she says she just won't come out for anybody. She has no interest in humans. And then all of a sudden, this little cat comes out, and the woman looks at me like I'm really strange. And what? Because she's never seen the cat do this before. And I thought, okay, well, that's great. That's great. And there was a black cat there, and I wanted to have the black cat as well. And he was also labeled as unadoptable. My husband saw this other brown tabby, and that's the one that sings. It's so fascinating. And I have a story to tell you about this psychic and the second cat as well, because she told me why he does that. And there was a confirmation story on that as well. So we have this older cat, and my husband, since the black cat wouldn't let us adopt him, my husband said, okay, well, we'll take the little cat that chose my wife. And there was another cat there that was supposed to be a dog cat and play. And it was funny because that cat was smart because he did that amount of playing. And then after that, he really stopped, no longer wanted to play. My husband is the type of person that will play with a cat. He loves to play with cats and he'll play with them and he's good at it. And for a while, he loved to play and then no longer wanted to play. And it's shortly after he got adopted, too. He's like, I did what I had to get out of there, type of thing. I ask myself now why I decided that I needed to take animals that were very difficult, that were going to be a struggle to be able to be shown any type of affection or anything like that. And as it turned out, this older cat that we have, the boy, the gaslighting one, barely shows any affection really. And I was right to keep the one that pees everywhere because we do get a lot of affection and attention from her. But to go through all of that, and that is one of the things that I am definitely working on mentally, is that why does love have to be so hard? Why do I have to go through such lengths just to get validation, attention, affection, and any of those positive emotions? And that I'm allowed to be loved and taken care of, and it can be easy. And so I just want to have a little break in the story here to show that this is a long-term pattern of never waiting for life to give me what I want, that I thought taking care of myself was doing it as fast as I possibly can because I had no faith in my higher power, my universe, or myself to produce it. So when I saw a small little whiff of it, even if it was never close enough to being exactly what my heart would want, I would grab it and take it because I figured that I was only going to get the crumbs of life and had to snatch the crumbs. And I now want to actually sit at the table. And this lesson with my cats gave me more of an indication that I am worthy of sitting at the table of my life and having a full serving instead of just settling for the scraps. And it really came to my understanding that when I settled for who these cats were instead of going for what I did, I set myself for a world of hurt. Even with the next story about the black cat, where he showed himself that he wanted to become part of our family. And you know what? I'm a fantastic person. Of course, everyone wants to be part of my energy. And that was another very valuable lesson. So we'll get back to the story. So we took those two cats, the one that was the one that I saw on the website that basically came out for me, and the gaslighting cat that he was a playing dog cat, and we took those two home. The black cat was also in the room. He was part of the trio of the three. When we had left the shelter, we had looked up to the second floor, and the black cat put his paw against the window when we had left, and he was meowing and meowing and meowing for us to come back. And we took that as a sign that the cat wanted to come to us. So we came back for about 4 or 5 weeks to learn to earn the cat trust, and he came home to us. And the little cat, we named her Little. The little cat, the black cat, and the big cat were one happy family because the trio for another were from one room in that shelter, and life was good. There was a fourth cat in the shelter that we had brought home, and the four of them were all living happy until the second female started terrorizing Little, like just doing terrible things. Her name was Macy. We gave Macy back, and we thought, oh, well, we have room for one more female. It would be kind of nice. And I had been fired unexpectedly at that time, and I ended up working at the shelter, and I saw many cats, and many cats, and none of them struck me until I saw this little orange-faced brown tabby cat. She's got snow white feet and a thick little tail, and she jumped on me with kisses, like lost her shit on me whenever I would come into the room. And I thought, well, who is this cat and who is she? And the owner said that she had litter box problems. And I thought, oh, well, I didn't. You know what I did? I didn't fucking listen, is what I did. I did nothing. Instead, I just went, oh, she's so cute. I can fix her. Although, if what this pet psychic said about this cat is true, then knowing where the litter boxes were, I know exactly why she was peeing outside the litter box, because that statement would also be true in that case. So I bring her home. I'm thinking we're going to be one big happy family. And all I have to say to that is fuck no. Gooby and Little were in a pissing contest. My kitchen chairs were destroyed. My kitchen table has been destroyed. My husband had to refinish the table so that when his son came to visit, we could sit at the kitchen table. The kitchen behind the door has been destroyed. The area around the litter box has been destroyed. I have a church pew a miniature one that I got at a antique shop, and she peed on the corner of that. Anytime we had 6 litter boxes. We had 4 cats and 6 litter boxes, and she peed outside the litter box. And you may ask me the reason why we never get back is because she was the only one of the 4 that acted like a pet. The other three were basically fosters that never interacted with us, like literally little interacted with me the most, I'd say, but I had to force her to learn how to be an affectionate cat because she wanted nothing to do with me in regards to physical stuff. And by the end of it, she was one that anytime someone came over, she was their cat. Like, get me the fuck out of here. I will do whatever. I will pet you. I will let you pet me. I will let you do whatever. Just get me out of here type of, I just love you. And the entire time, she never did that to my husband. Never. She just ran from him the entire time. But anyone who came over, any stranger who came over, and she was all over them to the point where she was more than just me. And I thought, you know what? She's going to be fine. She's going to find someone that comes and visits, and she's going to fall in love with them. Anyway, that went on for 7 years. 7 years I lived in a giant litter box. And finally, at one point, I sent Gooby back to the shelter for a month to see if when she came back, if we could reintroduce her properly because we felt that maybe we rushed it somehow. And so we thought we'd reintroduce her again, and it did nothing. And finally, I made the hard decision to take Little and the black cat and send them back to the shelter. And the shelter had a 100% guarantee that for any reason, if there was a problem with the cats, they were to go back to the shelter and she would rehome them. And she knew about the struggles that was going on with myself, and she was just waiting for us to make the decision to rehome them and to send them back. And that was a bumpy ride as well because I guess her transition leaving the house was difficult and she resorted back to some of her feral ways. And they were really, really worried if Little was going to going to adjust. And she contacted me twice asking if I would take Little back. And I was at the point that it was either her or me. And that was a really hard decision to make because I know there's going to be judgment for people about a pet. But honestly, it was getting to the point where it was my sanity or her. And I had to, if we were going to keep a cat, we were going to keep the cat that showed us the most love for both of us that we both enjoyed. And Little only allowed me to enjoy her. And she was horrible with my husband. And I'm like, I'm sorry. This is how it goes. Well, finally, my shelter lady let me know that the both of them got adopted by a artistic couple in that town as a bonded pair, and no news is good news, and I'm assuming that they are doing fantastic. And so I'm very happy to hear about that. I automatically thought that when the black cat and the little cat would go back to the shelter, that the peeing out the outside of the litter box would stop altogether, but that wasn't the case. And so it has now been, we are actually coming up on the anniversary weekend. Oh my gosh, how timely is this message that this is the anniversary weekend of sending them back? Let me double check on that. One moment. So yes, we are a couple weeks away from the anniversary, and it took a while to figure that out. But yes, it is around about a year now that they have been gone. And to say that the urine has stopped, well, when you are dealing with it 100% of the time, 2 or 3 times a day, when it goes down to 2 or 3 times a week, you consider that a win. And it's interesting on what you will tolerate, what shit and how you tolerate for a loved one. But for some reason lately, the urine had gotten bad again. And I was very, very frustrated because I could never figure out what the pattern was. And I'm really good with patterns. If I can recognize the pattern, then that would be it. And so I have been scrolling through and figuring out that my last resort is I'm going to try a pet psychic. I have seen them in different situations and I have heard about them, and I wanted to see if I could find one that would work, to see if there would be any way that they could give me some information about what's going on with this cat. So as I do every once in a while, I will go on to TikTok and it will inspire me, and there will be something that I will have someone will show something that I want, or it will lead me in a direction of a supplement that I'm looking for, and I'll have a tarot message, as in last week. And this time, a pet psychic came on, and she was talking, and she has a very simple delivery, no flash, no pizzazz or any of such. And she came on and she was talking about dogs, and I'm like, oh well, if she only talks about dogs. But something told me to go to her profile, and I thought, okay, I will go, and started looking and found out she was on live. And I was very resistant to go on because I am hit and miss with the entire psychic experience. I know there are true situations like that where information can be given, but I also know that there are people out there that pretend and take people for granted. And I just want the truth to come out and find out what's going on. So I found out that she was on live, and I thought I'll go on her live. And there were hardly any people on the live at the moment. She had just started, and there can be hundreds, thousands of people on a live, and she had 5 when I went on there. And her name is Medium Brittany. Let me just look at it again here. Well, isn't that fascinating? I also didn't save her. So now I have no idea. I thought her name was Brittany, but now I can't remember. And isn't that even better? That adds it's a story. So I am on TikTok with her, and how TikTok works is that when they're on a live, you can have comments, and you make a comment and the comments pop up, and they're very random, and sometimes they can read them and sometimes they can't, and sometimes they flash, their 30 comments go by, or it gets stuck or whatever. So it can be very hit and miss that they can read your comment. And even though there were only 5 of us, there were people jumping in and talking about their animals, and she would ask a question about their animal to find out whether or not they were talking about the right dog, if there's something specific, what breed, etc. She needed more clarifying information. So I send a message to her about Gooby, my cat, and all I told her is brown tabby cat with white feet. And she goes, "Oh, okay." And she's, she says, she goes, "Are there sides on the litter box? And is the litter box in the dark?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's in a dark laundry room." And she says, "Well, would you want to go pee in a dark place?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, I do, but that's true." And it just dawned on me that after the cats had left that caused the extra stress, every single place that she peed was beside someplace light. Like she peed just beside the door of the litter box where it was bright. She peed beside the outside doors when the door was open because it was light there. And I never realized that was peeing where it was light. So today I'll have to report back on a future episode. But today I am going to leave a light on in the laundry room for her. I might even put a little light on as a night light on a timer so that the light doesn't have to be on all the time. But I am going to make it as bright as possible in there for her, or put a litter box somewhere else where it is bright. I never realized that this could have scared her and that she only went to the bathroom when it was light out. But what's interesting in regards to all the 6 litter boxes that we've had was because, again, they were all covered and they all were in dark spaces. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm just having a 2x4 to the forehead if it was something that simple as that. She just hates to be covered. And the current litter box we have right now has tall sides in it. I may have to have something just for her where she can go that has a light on that has no sides, and see if that helps. And I am so thankful that I am just willing to explore odd and unusual things to get the answers that I need. When I talk to the vet, because usually when cats pee out of a litter box, they do it because it's a stressor. My husband is quite religious on cleaning the litter boxes. He cleans them once or twice a day. We have gone through every single type of litter that Chewy has to offer. We've even went outside and done strange different kinds of pellets of litter. And I thought it was the smell. I thought it was the consistency. And here the entire time is that it was too dark for her. And it's funny that As a little girl, one of my fears was that I was scared of the dark. And it's funny how you can have a cat that is the same. And it makes me wonder now with some of her behavior, because even though to go to the litter box, she's scared of the dark, but she loves to hide in my closet. She loves to hide in the spare room tucked in. So her safe places are in the dark, but her litter box has to be all bright and light up and advertised. I'm just like that part. Unless she wants to be able to feel the safest there. And if you can see from all sides, I guess that would be the safest. But wow, who knew? And I asked her also the pet psychic. I was able to come back on about 10-15 minutes later, and I asked her about my other cat that likes to yodel. It's hard to explain, but he yodels, and I wanted to know why he sang. And she said it's because someone's energy in the house was low. And it's fascinating because to say that I was at a low point was an understatement. I had just spent 15 minutes going into this podcast, and I was really feeling good about the stories and how everything was flowing. And something told me to go and check. And when I checked, the entire podcast was gone. Sure, it had recorded it, but it never registered any of my voice. And I was sitting there near tears, and Boo just started to sing. And as soon as he started to sing, I got super happy because I love listening to him sing. And he stopped really quickly. And I'm like, huh, I wonder if she has something there. Thank you, Boo. That is a good checkup from the neck up that I need to actually shift my energy and make it just get it out of that vibration of being so low. And it's fascinating that I really, if this was the answer of how I can make it happy and get my house smelling the way I want it to smell, because I am so tired of it smelling like a litter box. And it would be different if we were the type of people that never did anything. But when you do everything in your power to change something and nothing happens, that is a very difficult place to be. And you feel like a horrible cat parent. And I just, oh. So when that lady told me that it was just that she's scared of the dark and that the litter box walls are too high, and I sat there and looked at every single one of our litter boxes, and my husband insisted on covered litter boxes this entire time with high walls. And she, going back to when I met her at the shelter, all of the litter boxes were inside vanities. They took vanities and or like kind of like a dresser, and they would cut out the sides and they could go inside of these. That way there was a counter on top to have cat beds and do stuff, and they were all in closed spaces. And so if she's claustrophobic and has a problem with closed spaces, then she would have peed outside of all of those too. And who knows what would have happened in her previous home, because she was also at a home of 5 cats there too. And if she had someone that terrorized her like she had here, then but I don't know what's going on, because that girl is getting some balls, because we have the older cat that's still here. She has been going after his special sleeping spots. There is a bed I have in my office right behind me here that Boo even licks it, because if you lick it, it's yours. And that is his theory. He loves the bed. He licks it. He'll lick it. He'll lick himself, and then he'll go to sleep. And last week, she decided to get in the bed, and he came to get her out of the bed, and she actually backed up, and they had the kung fu fighting pow 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 pow, pow between each one of them to get him out of the bed, get her out of the bed. And she stayed in the bed and won. And if he leaves the room, she crawls in it, and if he comes back, he'll have to get her out, but he'll get her out. And there's something going on between the two of them. But earlier this morning, they started to play a little bit. And I'm wondering if there is some kind of bond or something that's happening between the two of them. I really hope so, because I just really want happy, happy cat life, happy, happy wife. It would be really nice to come home to have that less of that frustration and stop having to have a constant um decrement report from your husband of where she peed and where she didn't pee. Well, I certainly didn't expect this to be a podcast about urine and pets, but my experience here with this cats and with this urine is because I never had the worth or value to decide what I wanted. Again, I took the attitude that as soon as you have something love you, that it's all that you need. And that is incorrect because I need more than just someone finding me lovable because I already am lovable. And that's what I have learned from this entire experience and that my cats taught me is that Little and the black cat truly were fosters. Or I could have learned that I could have waited for someone that was going to show me the type of love that I wanted. But I was so desperate for acceptance and attention and validation that I was so desperate for all of those things that I rushed it. And I rushed it by getting those 3 cats, the 2 that were unadoptable, because you know what? I could prove to someone or something that I could make a difference. Where if I would have just waited to the sweet one, the Gooby that we have now, and took that 1 cat, then we could have had a lifetime these last 9 years of experiencing one beautiful little cat and maybe being able to figure out this urine problem earlier, or even if we would have it, I have no idea, but at least we would have had a lot easier road to get here. But the lesson that I have learned is how incredible FOMO has ruled my life. On how the fear of getting nothing had me settle for the 1, 2, 20, 30, 40% things that I have taken in my life. Many of the things that I have right now, I have bought them on the basis of the fear of nothing better coming. And then the better comes, and I'm stuck with the settling thing that I bought, chose, or so thought I needed. And my life is filled up into this point of many of those things. And now this turn in my life is where to decide on I keep the things that I love and serve me and make me feel good, and slowly am purging the things that don't. And this can be very interesting to see what I have on the other side of this, but I have to do that in order to allow the room for the things that I really, really want and love. But I'm realizing now that it's okay for me to say no. It's okay for me to wait for what I want. And it's okay to have standards, and learning what those standards are and who I am and where I want to be in life is actually what these cats have taught me, because I am very thankful for the love that I have received from Gooby and her pet ownership, but there was a lot of pain and suffering that has come from having that choice and that love. And that my FOMO and my deciding to rush things made me create a situation that made her adoption into our family and our experience much more difficult. For if I would have just waited and gone to the shelter and worked and just brought Gooby home, this could have been a total different experience. Now that we have shed some light, on the litter box problem, if we can have it that is removed, we have a very happy cat home, and it is a joy to have them. And that to me is what pet ownership is to be. And this idea that love has to be painful and love has to be uncomfortable and love has to be something where it's all one sided. I'm done with that. I'm done with it that it's only I'm taking care of them and there's nothing coming my way. And that may sound selfish, but it's too damn bad, really, because it's time now that Jax takes care of Jax. And it's funny because if you talk to people in my life, especially like my kids or my ex-husbands, you would think that I was taking care of myself when I left, but I was taking care of the fear and something that I thought would fix that, other than taking care of the fact that I was the one that needed to validate myself and that I needed to find my worth. And those things they would have never given me, because they were never the ones that took it or lost it. I was the one that never allowed myself to believe in who I was. And now I'm finally beginning to do that. And I hope that that is something that can help you too. Speaking of taking care, and I'm going to finish off with this, there were two things this weekend that I asked, both personally asked and also energetically asked for my husband's help with. And he came through with shining colors this weekend. There was a situation where I had to make an amendment on my tax return, for there was a 1099 a 1099 that I had to that I got after I filed my taxes, so I had to make an amended return, and they came back that I still owed money on my payment, but I had made my payment shortly after I had received the bill. And I had asked my husband to call because the bill came in both of our names, not just mine. And he was a little reluctant at first, and that pissed me off, and that'll be the subject of another podcast. And I had wasted a whole bunch of emotional energy on his lack of willing to help me, to find out that he had an excellent experience and got it all figured out for me, and that was fantastic that I was taken care of. Now I still need to work on the that taken care of was a little bumpy still, but it is the beginning. I am the type of person who can be taken care of and who can receive help. That's the big one. Yeah, I'm the type of person who can receive help. So the second thing was that we had a gentleman. It was funny the timing on how everything works out. My hubby was in the hospital. He tweaked his back. His back is still bad, and our yard needed some help cleaning up. It looked a little messy, and a gentleman came to the door who speaks zero English, asking through a translator on his phone if my husband wanted some help getting the beds cleaned and everything in the yard. So we had it arranged that the gentleman came yesterday, and obviously, thank God for Google Translate. He did such a job on the yard that my heart feels happy now. That it just lifted something, the energy lifted, and it was fantastic that I was able to be taken care of in that way. But in this area of my being taken care of, one of the biggest stumbling blocks I find is my ability to ask for what I need and allow it to be manifested. Most of the stuff that I have looked about in my house, is a lot of it has been bought of, oh my god, what happens if it doesn't come by again, and oh my god, it's a once in a lifetime sale. And if it comes on sale, that's a real kicker for me, because then it triggers my FOMO, my fear of missing out. And I recall this morning sitting at my desk, just so frustrated with this situation with my cat. And I remember these tears welling up in my eyes. And I just asked for help. Can you please just help me? I just need some help with the things that I'm stuck with in my life. And this urine problem is one of it. I am so tired of smelling urine, and it just overwhelmed me. And when I turned on my phone, that's when the psychic showed up. And now it's fascinating because I can't find her on my phone, and I thought I saved her, I thought I followed her, and obviously none of those things have made me find her. But it's amazing what happens when you ask for help. Well, that is the end of our episode, my dears, and we are just ending the back to school rush for everyone else. But for my homeschoolers, this is the time when you're just starting to get settled in and knowing what you still need in your curriculum. And if you're struggling getting your kids to do cursive, I have the answer for you. My ultimate cursive writing adventure, Crack the Cursive Code. allows your child to have something simple to focus on in regards to their cursive writing. My program takes them through the alphabet with a 3,000 word adventure story, and the goal is to learn the pangram sentence, and this pangram sentence has every letter of the alphabet in it. And with that, you can use that as your daily cursive practice. I have started doing that with my work because I want to be more accurate. I do cross crawls that I learned in Brain Gym. I take some water and then I write out my pangram sentence in cursive to get start my brain into doing what I want to do. And it's interesting after I do that how my brain feels like I did something. It's quite fascinating. You can check out my books on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online. If you'd like to get a bundle, because I have two writing books, a left and a right-handed version. I have the 3,000 word adventure story, which is included in the writing story. Also can be a full color reading book. It's beautiful. It has a printed legend in the back for translation help and a kick-ass puzzle book that is a great way for all ages to learn to read and do some writing practice in cursive. You can order a bundle and get a bit of a discount on my website, as well as PDF versions of all of these books there as well. That website is crackthecursivecode.com, and you'll find my loser, forthwith, and shift merchandise there as well. You can always reach me on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to hear your aha moments or what you are starting to do to take care of yourself. And together we can turn the shit of our lives into fertilizer and bloom where we are planted. Love you. Jax out.